Welcome to Career Bites Episode 2. I'm Anna Carey from the DYW. This podcast is dedicated to exploring career pathways for young people. I'm with Alan Doris from BriggsAmasco, who's a member of the Scottish MFRC Committee. And today we'll be discussing our exciting career opportunities within the construction industry, flat roofing. The profession offers excellent prospects, hands-on learning and a direct pathway into a growing industry. And Alan will share industry insights and expertise. In this episode, we will explore the flat roofing sector, the benefits of apprenticeships, and how young people can start their journey in this field. Let's begin. Good morning, Alan. How are you?
Good. Really good, thanks.
Could you provide an overview of the flat roofing and the significance in the construction industry?
So flat roofing is commonly used in commercial properties and residential developments that require living spaces and garden areas, particularly in city centre locations. Mm-hmm. We often find that it's commercially more beneficial to go with a flat roof as an alternative to a pitch roof. The industry itself is vibrant at the moment with strong demand for trade labour, which offers exciting opportunities for young people to join the sector.
What key skills and attributes make someone well suited for a career in the flat roofing industry?
So one key aspect would be good physical health. It's a physically demanding role. Being a good team player, being good with your hands, having a keen eye for detail, all of which a good employer would help you enhance these skills or develop these skills throughout your apprenticeship, encouraging even healthier living.
Yeah.
So sometimes we've found that some people have joined the sector without all the attributes, and you actually try to develop them throughout the period of a 4-year apprenticeship programme.
Yeah.
And some people it's been life-changing for them, including myself.
Great. Moving on to the training, could you outline what a typical flat roofing apprenticeship involves?
Yeah, so commonly it would be through a block release programme. So you would join through the likes of the CITB, enrolling at a college, but find the right employer first that can support that. You would look at a block release programme, sort of like 3 weeks on site, with 1 week at college, or 3 weeks on site and 2 weeks at college. And over the period of a year, you would attend college, 9 weeks in your first year, 8 weeks in your second year, or sometimes 10 and 9, depending on the college itself. The learning modules covers various materials and various material attachments, such as torch on, cold applied and hot applied liquids, and mechanically fastened systems. And that actually gives a broad outline of what they may experience on site. The modules itself differ college to college.
Okay.
Or the bolt-ons to the actual core learning can differ. So we find in Scotland that there is a limitation of what's delivered at the college, but in other areas it might differ.
Okay. So when they're for academic wise at the college, is it all hands on at the college, or do they have to have certain?
There will be some written elements of it.
And does that cover arithmetic?
It covers it covers maths, and it covers units that would be health and safety, working at height, elements like that. It's really key critical parts to what the young people would learn on site. So
what level of maths would they wouldn't be looking for Nat 5
so
or?
They don't need any joining qualifications.
Oh, right.
They don't need anything like that. However, they would achieve an SCQF level 5.
So how did you join the industry?
I joined the industry having had a couple of poor experiences at apprenticeships. I'd had a paint and decorating apprenticeship, which I left after 6 weeks. It wasn't for me. And then I got into heating and engineering, which was underfloor heating.
Right.
And it involved a lot of travel. At 18-year-old, it wasn't something I was willing to commit to at that stage. And the jobs up in Scotland were few and far between.
Okay.
I then left that role and got a job labouring through an agency, and the agency paired me up with a flat roofing business. The the flat roofing business that I worked for, they offered me an apprenticeship after about 6 or 7 weeks alongside my brother.
Oh,
which
brilliant.
was really good. So I've been able to do that journey with my brother Mark was really, really something else. Like
Good.
being able to go through that whole progress, including
Together.
college and the learning at the same business, and we were always competitive as young
I can
kids and stuff.
imagine.
So it was really, really good to follow the pathway, and he was always a benchmark for myself, which was really good.
Good.
And as I continued to progress, I would watch what he was doing and say, I want to aspire to get to that level, which was nothing short of joyous within like both of us, I'd imagine.
Yeah, definitely. And so then the next step from the apprentice journey, you stayed with the same employer.
I stayed with the same employer for a few years, and then I felt as if for me to be recognised as my own person, without being referred to other people or compared to other people, I had to go and test myself at a different level.
Okay.
So I actually went self-employed for a period of time,
Right.
which was enjoyable, but it was hard as it approached like winter, not knowing whether you had work or
Your
whether
steady
you were
income.
able to steady income and stability. So after that, I decided to go back PAYE, which again paired me up at the company my brother was at,
Okay.
which he had already moved on to management by then.
All right.
And again, I looked at it and goes, I think I could do that as well.
Good.
So I continued on that journey, another 5-6 years on the tools, bringing through apprentices of my own accord as well,
Yep.
having apprentices under me, and that gave me a bit of satisfaction that I was giving something back, where I was passing on my knowledge and my insight into the industry to other young people, and being able to see them finish up, complete college and become really good tradespersons themselves.
Yep.
And then it took me to my next step where I wanted to actually come off the tools. I looked at where I was at in my own career, and I felt as if I could progress further, supervision, becoming a site manager potentially. And again, I found myself looking for an opportunity elsewhere.
And the employers, are they keen for you, obviously, to grow within the sector?
Yeah. I mean, I left that employer after 5 years with them. And after 5 weeks, they phoned me back and said, look, we've made a mistake letting you go.
Oh.
We want to offer you an opportunity off the tools now. But by then, I'd already chosen
Yep.
where I was heading. But I did rejoin them.
Did you?
And
Eventually?
that was my first sustained period off the tools basically as a trainee contracts manager.
So when you started your apprenticeship, did they always tell you that you could grow within the business?
Yeah, for day one of joining the sector, I knew that there was a pathway if you applied yourself.
Yep.
That was the important part. If you applied yourself as an apprentice, applied yourself as a tradesperson, I don't think the industry limits people to say, oh, you're going to be a tradesperson because you're too good to come off the tools, which often is found or often misunderstood. I felt as if the flat roofing industry, that if you were keen on progressing, the industry would support you, and that's continued to where I am now at BriggsAmasco, where over the 8 years I've had a few promotions on merit, and it's been quite exciting to see that I've managed to accomplish what was originally a 5-year plan in 2018.
Yeah.
I've now moved on to another 5-year plan where I see myself continue to develop, continue to progress within the business I'm at.
I mean, you've got a quite, we've been with the NFRC, there's quite a lot of employers that you know and you work with. And they have the same ethos, the ones that we have met at the event we had. And how do you think that it differs now for apprenticeships journeys?
So I think there's definitely a disconnect between employers and the training providers, where there was a lot of misunderstanding about, for instance, the age that you could take apprentices on it. There was definitely a disconnect in terms of funding available to the same employers. At the Flat Roofing Open Doors event that you're speaking about, I think that brought some of it together, where the employers who were interested in taking on apprentices, interested in meeting the young people, they felt as if they had people that could be accountable, could answer the questions that was in front of them.
Yeah.
Whereas before that, I don't think it was the case. And I think there's still more to be done. I think there's more employers that couldn't attend the event. They wish they'd been able to attend the event and maybe been able to ask questions that the employers who did attend the event were able to have answered.
I mean, that's why we got together, because of the DYW with the young people that we connect with, to raise awareness of this and to try and overcome any barriers that the employers think that the young people, because the young people out there are really, really inspired by hands-on work tasters, you know what I mean, trying to see what the industry looks like. And that's what it's all, because at some points they don't know where they want to go. You know, when you think constructions, your joinery, your plumbing, electricians, and that's what we always hear. But it was enlightening me last week as well, even the young people going away from that event saying, actually, I could do that. That's actually an industry that I would really be. And for DYW, that's why we're here doing these career bites, you know what I mean, to raise awareness. So how, I mean, apart from what we would, the what do you call it, the flat roofing one we did there at CITB that we joined you on, how can DYW help you further?
I think allowing collaboration between employers and the schools is an important part. The taster days, it only enhance interest in my sector, but also the wider construction industry. The 20 people that you brought to the event at Engineering College, I was amazed by their response, and the fact was they didn't know about flat roofing before they attended the event, but they knew about it when they left, and they would, some of them would consider it as a career option. And I felt that was quite important. With overall in that day 60 young people attended through various providers. The Tigers Group, DYW and West College Scotland. When they brought them to the event, the feedback that I had off the leaders, yourself and others, was these people were excited about it. They were talking about it.
I think the CV, when the young people come in and handed their CV and make sure they get that and put that in that box, and you know what I mean, they were very, very keen to get that CV in that box, which was great, because they knew I could actually potentially get something out of this, and there's a pathway or a journey for us, you know, and connect with the employers, so and we will go back to them. The
early feedback is that there's now people getting placement opportunities, which is great. Employers looking to interview. And that's what the event was all about, just bringing everybody together. Out on that day, there was 140 people attended that event, and that was stakeholders within my industry, manufacturers, the CITB, and all the young person groups who brought. I don't know if there would be another sector that would be able to do that at such sort of short notice.
To pull together, because they were all brilliant on the day. And that's what DYW is all about. We're here to bring employers, have employers. We're employer-led, you know what I mean, to influence the curriculum and give the positive pathways for the young people. So that type of event to me is gold dust to the young people. That's what they want. I mean, they would. If I put that out there again, we would definitely have more and more young people, you know what I mean, chapping the door and saying, can I go and have a taster day on that? And that's the most important thing, that we have to keep this going. It's not just going to be just a one-hit thing that we're going to say, oh, that happened. But the other events that you've got going on across Scotland is keeping that momentum up.
We need more employers to participate in the events. We need more manufacturers to participate in it. To date, it's been delivered by 2, Bowdon and Sika, which has been fantastic to see. But they need more support. They've got their own businesses to run, as do I, and that's why I brought the employers together for them to see what an event could actually provide for them, and hopefully they take up the initiatives in their own areas or their own local areas, engaging with schools and alike in the local DYW sectors.
All the DYW regions over Scotland as well. I mean, we spoke about obviously the training providers, and how would we get training providers together to speak to them to see how they can maybe enhance what they deliver or align it better.
I think that's we spoke about it off screen a few times, that we all have our own roles to do And I think the CITB need to take that to the forefront. Ensure that the employers know who to contact in the area, and make sure that they collaborate.
And there is good funding available.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, for employers out there through a CITB.
Yeah.
You know, and that and it's highlighting that as well.
Yeah.
So why should a young person consider the flat roofing career?
Well, just looking at myself as a prime example, and there's many others like me who have came through as an apprentice, applied themselves well, had confidence in their own ability, and progressed to senior levels. It's provided me a chance to raise a family, do nice things with my family.
Yep.
Whereas I'm not sure other sectors would have provided me the same opportunities. I see often on social media apprentices getting let go in their second year and third year at other sectors which I wouldn't name. However, I think seldomly do you find yourself out of work in the flat roofing industry. I think seldomly do you find somebody letting you go due to cost as an apprentice. The apprentices are the lifeblood of our industry, and it will continue to be there.
Yeah.
And there's always going to be a need for flat roofing.
Yes.
There will always be a need for good tradespersons. There is not a technology out there that could replace any of us, whereas I'm seeing technology replacing people in other sectors, such as joiners with off-site manufacturing.
Yes.
That's not going to happen with our industry. Our industry is quite solid, and it relies heavily on craftsmanship and of high quality. And I think that the manufacturers would tend to agree there as well, that the level of training that's currently out there is of good standard, but it needs applied across the board.
And is that having employers come in and speaking or you know what I mean, meeting with the training providers to say this is the level we're at now, you know what I mean, this is the material we're using, you know, we're moving fast on material.
There needs to be more connection there between the manufacturers and training providers, as in the CITB, who are the forefront of the training in Scotland, where materials have maybe moved on, technologies have moved on, it's more advanced than maybe what is delivered at college.
You find that in a lot of sectors just now, you know what I mean, you find it's moving really fast and it's very, very hard to keep up, you know, and that's probably where we would need to highlight it, and it's great to have you here today. What challenges does the flat roofing industry face in taking on more apprenticeships?
One of the challenges, I think, is the employers sometimes being in fear of taking on an apprentice and being able to retain them. One thing we've found is it's often seen as not attractive that an employer wants to invest in the young person. And once they've completed their apprenticeship, they're not a finished tradesperson. They've got the paperwork, they've not got the overall experience to maybe lead a job. And it depends on their own ambitions. Yeah. But more often than not, we find that, myself as an employer, I find that people will leave once they've got a qualification thinking they're finished, and that's them, they can go and explore the world or whatever else. And we've got to find a way to retain the staff, retain the apprentices after they've complete. We probably have a good success ratio at BriggsAmasco. However, other employers, from what I hear, maybe don't have the same success. We invest in the young people, and when we're investing in them, we see a long-term strategy for them. Yeah. But then something is done at government level for businesses in the construction industry to retain their apprentices. So there's. So is it the cost of why they're not hanging on to their apprenticeships after the 4 years? I think if you've not invested in that young person and trained them properly, there's two parts to it. If you've not invested in them, trained them properly, they're not ready. Okay. But the flip side of it is, if you have invested and trained them properly, they are ready, but they're ready to maybe explore other opportunities. Yeah. And everybody's done it. I mean, I've said that during this session myself. I done exactly the same.
Yeah.
But I done it because I didn't feel valued at the business I was at.
So you're trying to make sure that employers make that young person an asset, you know what I mean, for both.
But both sides.
Both sides of that.
It's got to be.
Uh-huh.
It's got to be a 360
Yeah.
approach here, where the employer feels valued and the employee feels valued.
So it's loyalty on both sides,
Yeah.
isn't it? So you were talking about having the solution with the government. How could they help? How could they intervene?
Well, there's no silver bullet for it. However, I think that if there was a way to incentivise for somebody to say, for say 10 years, the employers had their repay back for their investment in the apprenticeship. There's a few ideas floating about our sector, where perhaps there's opportunity to create a savings plan for every year that you have been employed up to a period of 10 years. But that would need government backing, it would need government support. And if you sorted a savings plan for somebody joining the industry at 16 and they get to 26 and it's maybe a 10-year cap on it, and they're still with that employer, they could get that money. It could be the difference to a down payment on their mortgage.
Oh, that'd be a great incentive.
Down payment on a car. All the things that when I was coming through the industry you took for granted, and I think it's harder now to obtain a mortgage and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's tough.
And at 26 years old, you're in that perfect balance. You've now got the trade experience, so the employer feels, right, we've had our repay, we've invested in that person over a period of time, but also the employee, they might want to stay.
Yeah,
They might have had personal life choices that means that they need the stability of that employer.
Yeah.
And that,
I mean, I think that's really important when you talk about now stability for the employee nowadays, especially when you're going for like your mortgages and things. Now you do need that. BriggsAmasco has been around since 1865. Is that so? I mean, you're looking at the flat roof industry is not going to go away. It's only going to get better, and it's only going to grow.
Yeah.
So why would you not invest in that young person when the person can
the industry is a
invest in you?
sustainable industry.
Yeah.
It just needs more people to join it.
Yeah.
And we've got to find a way. Our industry's not alone. I mean, I think every single trade will see an ageing workforce.
Yeah.
Retirement numbers in excess of what's joining the industry. And the whole industry needs to look at it. And as I said, that needs to be government led. It needs to be a think tank of like-minded people to ensure that we steer it away from basically a point of no return.
Yeah.
Eventually the numbers will be so low, or potentially so low, and the retirement numbers so high that you'll have the people within the middle of that concerned. They'll be concerned.
There's no skill
lack
there.
of skill, lack of knowledge passing on. And in every other role, it will have a knock-on effect.
Yeah.
I came through the industry from apprenticeship.
Yeah.
From an apprenticeship to run a branch in our sector. I'm not the only person that's done that.
Yeah.
So there needs to be another me in 20 years. There needs to be another multiple contracts managers come through. The people that work under me, they've all come through this industry.
It would be interesting to find out between, I mean, obviously the Scottish NFRC committee, how many apprenticeships could join. You know what I mean? Apprentices could join within the next 3 or 4 years.
Well, I think there's a broad understanding of what's required. It's how to get there.
Yeah.
And we've got a lot of different pods of people working on different things, and if we can bring all that together. That helps.
Yep.
Like the Flat Roofing Open Doors Day, that was the idea and mindset of that, was instead of having people work on all these wee small resources, bring it all together and bring them all in. And we're still talking some weeks after the event. And now we're looking at what can we do better?
What can we do next?
What happens? What happens next?
Yeah.
I mean, who's going to take up the mantle of something regional in their sector?
Yeah, and that's where it leads on to my next question. And what would you like the partnership with the flat roofing industry in DYW? What would you like that to entail going forward?
I think more taster days for the young people. at schools, colleges. I think that the key to that is manufacturers and employers. You guys being able to have the reach to them,
Yep.
but also them being willing to reach to you,
Yeah.
which is an important part, because you won't know every employer that's out
No.
there. I certainly don't know every employer that's out there, but something like this podcast today is critical to that, so that people understand, right, who is Anna Kearney,
Yeah.
and what is her role,
Yes.
and what does the DYW in
Scotland.
Eastern Bartonshire,
Uh-huh.
North Lanarkshire,
We
South
all
Lanarkshire,
do.
what we all do.
Because we're us being the conduit, you know what I mean, between the schools and the colleges and
Yeah.
universities we work with, you know what I mean, because we do have DYW school coordinators funded by the Scottish Government within every school, you know what I mean, in Scotland. So there's no reason why the employers couldn't reach out to us, because we will make that connection. But as we say, we trying to find out who they are, which I know I've got a lot of people connecting with me already through yourself, which has been great. The people I've never heard of, through LinkedIn and through the DYW LED website, and it's been absolutely brilliant. But it's more about what can you do, what is it you want from us, and what can we do for you, and vice versa.
Yeah. So for me, it's just maintaining the course. I mean, it's supporting our sector, which no doubt other sectors are asking for the same.
Yep.
But also to keep us right. I mean, because we are only employers.
Yeah.
We don't know sometimes the challenges with some young people.
Yeah.
Some of the people that you are dealing with each day, you know if they are ready for employment.
Yeah.
That's an important
And
part.
that's where the DYW coordinators within the schools, that's where we rely on them to have the right person,
Yeah.
the right fit for it. Because what we don't want to do is bring the wrong person into the industry, but we want to highlight it for young people who don't have a positive destination because they don't know what they want to do. It's not that they don't want to do anything, they just don't know what door to open.
Yeah.
And that's what we try there, to just bring that to the forefront for them and say, these are areas that you can do your taster sessions, these are areas you can do your skills academies, you can have a look at that area, you can dabble in it. And then obviously, like when we've seen the one at CITB, when that young man went in and he did the exact same copy of the ceiling and it was the exact same copy. It was like you couldn't tell them any different between the professional one and someone who was just coming in to do that first time.
The boy was a natural.
Oh, he was a natural. I couldn't believe it. I was like, no, and he was so pleased. He was like, and I'm sure he will go on that apprenticeship journey. And that is just within a 3-hour period, where that employer recognised that golden nugget, if you want to call it, and that young person recognised that employer, actually, you're impressed by me.
Yeah.
Well, I want to show you what I've got.
Yeah.
And that's the most important thing about DYW. I mean, the apprenticeship journeys, if employers are unsure, we can certainly help them with that. I work closely with the SDS relationship management team, who can tell them all about the apprenticeship journey, the levy, everything, difference between the Scottish and English ones.
Yeah.
And they're there and they work with many, many companies alongside DYW to get them to that level. So there's so much things we can offer them.
Yep.
A special thank you to our guest, Alan Doris from BriggsAmasco, for the insight today. For more information, visit the DYW website or reach out to your local DYW coordinator and follow us on social media. Thank you for listening. We look forward to sharing more career insights with you on the next episode of Career Bites.